Bonjour.
Hello.
Hello everyone, welcome for a live together. It's been a while since we've done a live together. I think we were in Santa Teresa.
Yeah, the last time. I think
Yeah.
it was in Saturday. Yeah, I remember. Can everyone hear us? Can you give us a sign if you can hear us?
Can you tell us if the sound is okay?
Just a thumbs up.
We are outside and there might be a bit of noises from nature and from the road. So if we need to speak louder, please let us know.
We also have to use our cellular internet today because we have an internet shortcut here.
This is a tropical joy of not knowing if and when we're gonna have a good network. And right now we don't have internet, so it's only 4G and it's not so great.
Yeah, if anyone can just give us a thumbs up if you can hear us clearly.
Do you hear?
Yes.
Yeah,
maybe.
a bit louder.
Thank
you. Yeah, I
you.
figured. So we speak a bit louder, okay?
And there's a lot of background noise, so it could also change.
Yeah, we don't have a mic, it's just a phone mic. Okay. So, welcome for this live, which is going to be about love. This is, of course, a very important topic for us because our love life is super important to us. And this is not only for personal space, but it's also then vibrating in all areas of life, because I do believe that we are thriving as entrepreneurs because we are well supported and empowered in our relationships. So it's very important to us to share about it. We actually did share about it a bit when we met on 2019, because Christian and I, we created already a short program called Conscious Loving in 2019, and we planned to create another program later, and then we got busy being in love and just, creating a life. And now that we have a bit more things to share, we are back. There is a lot of people, especially a lot of women, who write me and say, how did you find such a beautiful man? And how did you create such a beautiful relationship? Especially since I share sometimes that I didn't necessarily had a beautiful family relationship, but today I can say that I'm very happy in the family I created with Christian. So we're going to share a bit about that. And first, because it's my account, you probably know me. But Christian, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Christian, and I'm a trauma-informed coach. I'm also a breathwork facilitator, and as Anne-Claire said, we are together since 2019. We moved here to Costa Rica. Before that, I was living in Germany, Berlin. I had a normal corporate job until beginning of last year, and then I decided to quit my job. A few months later, we then decided to actually move to Costa Rica, and now we're here.
We are. Beautiful jungle. Let's start maybe with how we met, because that was a common question. So we met in Bali in an ecstatic dance. So for people who don't know what an ecstatic dance is, this is just free dancing with a bunch of hippie people. No alcohol, just fun and love and just free flow. And that's how we met, and we didn't talk to each other. And then I went to a restaurant and he was there, and he was alone and I was alone, just like at the ecstatic dance. And then we went to a party and we met again, and finally I went to say hi, and then I took him home.
Exactly, and then we were in Bali, and I had to leave Bali 2 days later. So I traveled then to Thailand, and I was not ready at this point to commit to a relationship because I just broke up with another relationship. So I needed some space to actually process everything, even though this was quite seductive.
Thank you.
Having met you, I felt like, okay, maybe I should actually give it a try. And part in me also knew exactly that there's actually some work for me to do before I can enter a new relationship. And that's why it took some time. It took a couple of months for myself to really process everything that was going on in the old relationship, to let this old relationship also transition naturally without having like someone else at this time. And a couple of months later I then reached out back.
You mean 8 months later?
8 months later I reached out.
That was pretty long for me.
And then we met in Paris. We were
Yeah.
both in Europe, back in Europe, and then we met in Paris, and yeah, this was in May 2019.
Yeah. What is interesting is that when I met Christian, I was sure that it was the one I was looking for, because I called him to the universe. I had a whole list of things I was looking for, and he was checking almost all the boxes, and I had the feeling that it could be the one I was looking for. And then what happened is that I had to process the disappointment of not being with him yet. And not at all, actually, because he didn't promise anything. He said, I can't. He didn't say, I will be back later. He said, I cannot be in a relationship right now with
because this would be
you.
not fair, right?
Thank
to say
you.
something like, okay, I'll come back later, and then, you know, I think it's not really fair to keep someone waiting.
Well, not everybody would think that. There is people who would just make you wait forever. And I continued my life. And actually at that time, I was very interested in why I got disappointed. And I didn't take it, of course I took it personally at the beginning, and I was sad and I cried a bit and all of this thing. And then I shifted and I thought, okay, how can I be myself, the best lover that I can be? So instead of being passive and being like the victim of the circumstances, I thought, how can I be the best lover that I want to be for someone that I'm going to meet in the future? If it's not Christian, then there will be someone else coming, and I cannot give away all my power of being a creator to the universe and to the people who want or not want to be with me. So I used the waiting time so that I could inquire. So I read a lot of books, and I watched documentaries, I asked a lot of questions around me, and then I ended up writing a book about love that you can find on my website, only in French. It's called Une vie de préliminaire, l'art de choisir l'amour et de créer sa vie amoureuse. It's still available. And then later, when Christian came back to me at the very beginning of our relationship, we took a lot of time to talk about what we really wanted. Because Christian had some time to digest his relationship, I had myself more time to inquire what it meant to me to be in a relationship, and then we could co-create something beautiful with solid ground. So we really took time to do that together. And yeah, I think quite often a lot of people are just so happy to fall in love that they skip, and I have done that, and you probably have done that also, to skip the phases where we actually take time to discover one another and respect each other's values and needs and way of communicating and all of this, so that we can be empowered and start from a great starting point.
Yeah, I think what's important here to mention is the frame that we entered when we entered our relationship, or the frame that I actually entered by being your partner. Because when I then got to Paris to see her again after 8 months, you were in a polyamorous relationship and you had 2 other partners at this time.
Yes.
But you were also really open about it. You informed me about what's going on in your life right now, and I was actually quite curious about that, and I was already also reading about this kind of relationships, so I was open for it. But this obviously also brings some challenges. I think if there's something that can push so many buttons, then it's probably being in an open relationship, because then you really have to face all the beliefs that you hold about yourself, all the emotional wounds that you still carry around. So this was kind of an initiation for me into myself, but also into this relationship. And another aspect of this frame of relationship that we had, especially in the beginning, is that it was a remote relationship. remote. Do you say remote? Distance. Long distance relationship. Long distance relationship it was. So you were living in Asia.
And Paris.
Like a couple of months per year, and I was in Europe and Germany, in Berlin, because I had my corporate job there. So I was quite limited in terms of, okay, I will just travel and visit her. It had to be planned, and it was not possible for me to spend with you like a couple of months in Asia. This was not possible because I just had a corporate job. So I think long distance and the aspect of polyamory was kind of a challenge in the beginning, but it also created a lot of beautiful things.
Yes.
For example, that we were really questioning of what kind of relationship do we actually want? What are our agreements? What makes us feel safe, which is a really important aspect in any kind of relationships, but especially in a relationship where you have so many different polarities through different peoples that are involved in a romantic relationship, that also communication gets even more important. So this was a steep learning curve, especially for me in the beginning.
Yeah, well, for me too, but I had a bit more time to adjust because I was already for a few months with different partners. So this is interesting because I judged the fact that Christian was not ready to be with me when I thought I was ready. And sometimes, often, we judge what the universe sends us, but it was actually perfect for us because it gave us time to explore the topic of love. It gave me time to meet someone which was in an open relationship and who taught me to feel safe in a first open relationship, which was the first time for me, and I never was interested in it. I was curious about it, but not like to the point that I was looking for someone to experience it. It just happened. And then when Christian was indeed ready to create something together, then I had something else to offer because I was a different person, because I had experience being very explicit in my relationships because I was in open relationships. So it's interesting because when you were not ready, I judged it as if it was bad, but indeed it was great because now we have such a great relationship. It's probably because we had all those stepping stones in between and we didn't know.
Yeah, we didn't know. And I think the beautiful thing that we did in the beginning was really creating clarity around what kind of relationship do we actually want to have.
Yeah.
It was not about, we just want to have the freedom of experiencing other people in our lives or something like that. It was not about that. It was just really breaking it down, what it means for us to be in a relationship and how do we want to show up, what do we wish for our partner. Yeah.
So I would say that the best that we're experiencing today is to be really, we are great at communicating what we need and we never fight. Like it does not happen that we're fighting, and I think there is a lot of people who have trouble with that. We were talking about it the other day, that it's surprising for people when we say that we never fight, as if we have a problem, like, you never fight, whoa, what's your thing? But we never fight because we just express our needs, and then there is no reason to fight because we can't argue on someone's needs. It's just not okay. It's disrespectful. Like if.
And that doesn't mean that there's no tension or anything. It's just that we don't play it out in a way that we are making the other person responsible for whatever is happening in the situation. First take a step back and look, okay, what was actually happening inside of us. Because we are humans, we have our emotional wounds that get triggered from time to time, but we take then full responsibility for what is actually happening inside of us. And someone just asked what we actually mean with open relationship.
Yeah, well, it means having several partners and being in a romantic, it's not about sexual relationships, it's about having several lovers that you actually love and that you nurture every day, meaningful time with, online or in person. So it's having several partners.
Yeah. And the program that we are creating that you probably have heard about It is not necessarily about open relationships.
No,
it's
for
not
everyone.
about that. It's for everyone. It's just really getting clear about what kind of relationship you actually want to have in your life.
Yeah, so we're working on a program which is ready for you to enroll, but which will be ready to start on May 21st. We filmed already all the content, all the exercises are ready, the meditations, the EFT sessions, all of it is ready. It's just that we've done it in English and we are translating it into French. So everything will have subtitles, the exercises will be written in French too, the tapping, the meditations will be in French, so there will be a lot of French content from my French community. It takes a bit of time, but it's ready in English. It will be all ready for everyone on May 21st. We're super excited about it. And it's for singles, it's for people who are in a relationship but they want to improve it. It's for people who want to be more free in what they're creating, and so that they feel more expansion in their relationship, because maybe it's a bit heavy or there's a little bit of tension or they don't feel free inside their relationship. Because actually I would say that's the key word. It's how can you create a relationship that empowers you and in which you can feel even more free to be yourself. That's this. Yeah. So we have gathered a bunch of questions from you and we will answer them. It's about relationships in general and about our relationship. And the first question that I received is not a question. It's someone who said, thank you for sharing because you show us what's possible to experience. And you know, sometimes we've been shy about sharing personal stuff. Actually, Christian is the first person that I've been sharing things online with, and sometimes it's a bit, it's a lot of vulnerability to expose something which is so personal. But when I receive such messages like this, like thank you for sharing to show us what's possible, it makes sense that we share, that we can have a joyful relationship, because it means everyone can access it too, because they can feel how it's possible inside. So I'm happy that we make it possible.
The next one?
Yeah, you want to take it?
So the next one is, why do I attract always the opposite of what I'm looking for in a man? Okay.
Take it.
Okay, yeah. So I think there are different aspects to how I can answer this question. One thing that comes first to my mind is that oftentimes, and this is maybe not directly answering the question, but still it's important to say here, oftentimes what we are looking for, or why we fall in love into someone, it's because they have certain qualities that we also have, but we don't have access to them. So we project this kind of qualities to someone else, which can create some conflicts in a relationship, because suddenly the opposite, the other side, the partner of you is keeping these qualities, and you expect this person to show up with these qualities all the time. And if they don't do it, you feel almost like betrayed, or you might feel like, oh, this is not the person that I actually fall in love with. And I think it's always a good indicator to recognize what are the qualities that you fall in love, and then see how you can actually provide these qualities for yourself, so that you actually not dependent on the other person. There's nothing bad about being in a way dependent on the other person, but we want to own the qualities that we actually have inside of us that we maybe don't have the access to, so that we can actually show up with a lot of generosity, with safety, and with a lot of love. This is one answer to this question. The other answer is, let's say you have a partner who's always crossing your boundaries. Maybe you enter this kind of relationships because you have to learn to stand up for your own needs. And this can come up over and over again in relationships, and it wants to show you something that where you actually have to heal, to do some healing work. And that's why your relationships can be such a beautiful space to heal, because what we get triggered by, it's always showing us where we actually have to heal. And let's go back to this example of someone who's crossing your boundaries. If someone crosses your boundaries, first of all, what you should do is to communicate your own boundaries, right? Oftentimes it's not, we think it might be really clear, even though we might never communicated our boundaries to our partner. And then second of all, this person who's doing that, there's something positive in it, because he's getting what he wants. He's getting what he actually needs, even though he's maybe doing it not in a way that is that's coming from an empowered state, from a mature space. But he's getting something that he wants, and maybe this is something that you can also create in your life more, seeing what you really want and just get it. So I think oftentimes when we get triggered by the reaction or by the actions of another person, if we would take just a bit of this quality into ourselves, like a homeopathic dose, it will actually create a lot of satisfaction in our life, because suddenly we are stepping up for our needs and we're getting what we actually need in our life.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Do you have anything to add?
No, that's good. Oh, we'll come to that, Noemi. We'll answer that, and then we'll tell you what's inside the program. Thank you for being curious. How did you talk about not wanting kids, and do you agree on that? So I think from the very beginning, I said it.
Yes.
I said, well, this is my life. This is what I do. I write books, I create stuff, and I do not want kids, which I said I'm open to adopting kids like later, but I don't even know if I'll do it. It's just that I don't feel like having kids on my own, so I was very straightforward. How did you receive that?
It was okay for me, because we were on the same line here. I can also imagine to adopt at some point kids. I want to have a family, but for me a family can also be having both of us, having some animals. This also means for me family.
Yeah.
And I also have a family, my parents, my siblings, my nephews.
Yeah.
So there's in a way family, and family is also really important for me. But family can also look differently then.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be kids, at least not for me. But I know for many people it's really important.
Yeah, well, we talked about it from the very beginning, and being honest about it is super important. I've had previous relationships where I said it, but I was not very firm, and I've had partners who said, oh, you'll change your mind. But I didn't plan on changing my mind. It's not something that I can change. It's just part of who I am, because of my history, because of who I am and what I want to create with my life. So, yeah. I acknowledge that in the past I was not always super straightforward about it, but being really sure has brought a lot of clarity for my partner now, and we can co-create something that we both agree on. I think it's better than thinking that the other person would change their mind someday in the future, and then kind of losing time on creating what we really want to create.
So the next one, you said you're working with Christian and pay him. What does he do with you? Breathwork 101 session, lead from the heart?
No, it's me who wrote the answer when I got the question.
Okay.
So it's because someone asked me how we work together, because I said we work together. So Christian does breathwork in Make Money from the Heart. So there's a breathwork which is recorded. And he does one-on-one sessions in Lead from the Heart, my mastermind, about the nervous system for advanced entrepreneurs. That's how we work together.
Yeah, and also in the program that we're working on right now together.
No,
so
it's
sometimes
collaboration.
Yeah, exactly. It's more like a collaboration.
Yeah. But maybe the question was implying, like, does he do something else with me? Well, he takes pictures of me, but only because he wants to. I'm not forcing him. And we do that like more in a playful way. It's not like a job. That's it. I try to hire him, but he's busy coach, entrepreneur, and he has his own thing.
How much space does money take space in your relationship?
Yeah, how much space does money take in our relationship? How do you make a harmonious relationship to money in your couple?
You want to start?
Yeah, it's always been very flowy. It's just when we have money, we just share it in. We don't share a bank account, but we just like sometimes he pays, sometimes I pay, sometimes he pays, sometimes I pay, and we don't have like this 50-50 thing that a lot of couples have put in place, which is a bit stressful. Like you gave more, I gave more, we're not even, I owe you something. We've never done that, so it's just whoever has more money at that time will just help the other, and there is just a very supportive relationship of co-creating together. And I do believe also that, for example, the universe works in mysterious ways, and sometimes we block the flow thinking that it's mine or it's yours. And for example, my business have been thriving a lot since 2020, and I think it's not only for me, it's for us. This is like just an abundance coming our way so that we can share with the world from the heart whatever we're creating without worrying about it. And it's not because it's unclear, it's the energy of love. And because I'm very supported at home, it's possible. So for me, this is really flowy. This is just, it's not my money, it's not your money, it's the universe sending us energy of abundance so that we can both create what we want to create in this world. That's how we make it harmonious.
Exactly. It's never that we count the money and say, oh, but you paid last time, let me pay now or something. It's
No.
not really happening.
No, we don't do that. How do you deal with the desire of the other for someone else? I've had so many questions about polyamory.
Oh yeah? Okay. So I have to think about the answer. The answer is not coming immediately. Because we are in a polyamory relationship, we are open to having also desires for someone else outside of this relationship that you see right now. And this can come with some internal challenges, for sure. At the same time, there's also kind of a beauty in it, because you can see your partner being really happy. And there's also the joy of actually witnessing someone else having joy, and you probably know that. You, for example, see dogs playing at the beach, or you see children playing, or you see your partner just having a good time, and you actually also experience this joy. And I remember when you were in other relationships, this was actually oftentimes or sometimes coming up for me, this shared joy of knowing that you're safe, knowing that you have a good time, and this affected also me. So there's a bit of a mind shift in it, but oftentimes, especially in the beginning, it might be tricky to access this joy, as there are so many other triggers maybe activated inside of us.
I think that we tell ourselves stories that if our partner has desire for someone else, then it means they have less desire for us, which is not true. It's not something that is more or less, it's just different. And reading More Than Two, it's a great book to read. More Than Two is for whoever wants to experience more than one partner. Has been very enlightening for me, because I really understood what it means to be enjoying, loving more, because it is very generous, and it's very expensive in the heart to be able to feel that we are happy when our partner is happy with another partner. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There was something else coming up for me. What did you start it with? You started with
More
one.
than two?
Exactly. Yeah. Someone just asked also about the books, what kind of books we read, and we will touch on that probably later again. But More Than Two is one of the books that we were reading in the
It's
beginning.
super great.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a question, but someone asked about polyamory. I would say that if you're interested in polyamory, just read books and just be honest with your partners that you have currently or that you want to have in the future, and just tell them and say, I'm interested in creating a relationship which is not exclusive. Would you be okay with it? And would you be okay to inquire what it means for you, what it means for me, and to see if we can have experiences and see how it's going? Because I think we don't learn polyamories only by reading. We are going to learn about it because we're experiencing it, to see if it works with who we are and if we want that. And also for me, I don't really like to put labels because, for example, right now we are like monogamous by circumstances because Corona Circus arrived, and then I ended up a relationship with someone because I would not see him for a long time, and right now we don't have other partners. So it's not really a label, you know, it's just the energy of love that we're following and that we're honoring.
Yeah. That's really
open.
similar to what I said in the beginning. It's not about that, it's just about creating your own agreements and having clear conversations about them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, someone said, you are beautiful together, thank you. What are your differences?
What are your differences? So, what's coming up for me first is I like kind of adventure, and I noticed if we are hanging out together like for months and I don't see anyone else, I notice that I have to get my adventures in. So I need a body, I need a masculine body that I can hang out with, that I can have adventures. So I think this is one big difference. But I think
You mean
it's also
outdoor adventures?
outdoor, yeah, exactly.
Like going
a different
outside,
kind of
like the
adventures, yeah.
forest and hikes and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Combo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think, for example, also Cambo. I also like to work with, for example, with mushrooms, psychedelic mushrooms. This is also not for you, but I really enjoy working with them for myself. This is kind of a difference.
Yeah.
The music
Well,
taste is different, partly.
Music
partly.
taste, yeah.
Yeah.
But not always.
Not
We
always. I
agree
say
on-
partly. Yeah, we agree on some artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we have slightly different tastes in food. Sometimes we have different tastes in, or we have different views on things. Like, for example, when we created the program we created at the beginning, I am very free flowy. Like I know where I want to go with him, and I would just put the modules all together just in an intuitive way. And then Christian was like, "Okay, but what is the frame?" Like, so he's very much more structured, and I'm very much more flowy. So in this sense, we're really embodying the masculine energy and the feminine energy, and that can lead to conversations like, "Why do you need that?" But I need it. It's just one more opportunity to express what we truly need, and we made it work.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a big
We did it.
difference.
That's a big difference, yeah, sure. I think you're also way more trusting into processes than me. I'm trying to give things structure. I'm trying to be more controlling in certain situations than you are. Yeah, this is also, I would say, a difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But I've been an entrepreneur for a longer time, so it's also,
Yeah,
I think the
it
confidence
comes
comes from the experience.
Yeah.
Also, you get up early. I don't like it.
Oh yeah, that's.
So he gets up early. I'm more of a night owl, but we make it work because I like to go to bed with him in the evening. So I get up earlier and earlier. But it's also nice because then he has his own space when he gets up in the morning because I'm not up. So he has the whole house and he does whatever he wants for 2-3 hours, and then comes get me to bed, cuddle me, and say hi. I've been up for 3 hours. He's all awake and I'm all sleepy. and yeah, with just different rhythms, but it creates also freedom. Yeah. Someone asked, it's not a question, it's about fidelity in a relationship, and I would say that that question does not really apply in our agreements, because the relationship is open. There is no betrayal or infidelity possible, because if he wants to see someone else, if I want to see someone else, then we'll have an open conversation about it, and then we'll set boundaries and agreements about this relationship. So we're not hiding it. So there is no question about infidelity or fidelity. Yeah. Someone asked about what were our relationships with others before we met, what kind of experiences we've had before. Do you want to start? Or?
Yeah, trying to see how I can answer it, because I had not only one relationship before, a couple of them, and I think one of the questions that was here in the comments was attracting the opposite of what you actually want, and I can also see that in my past relationships, that I was attracting what I actually didn't want in a relationship, and yeah, I mean, what really helped me is here, for example, going to therapy, getting really clear about what was actually happening inside of me, that I was always finding myself in this kind of relationships, but also then taking actions on what I actually want in my life, and trying to fill my cup first before I actually can then fill a cup of another person.
Yeah.
There were difficult relationships, there were easy relationships before, and they were all beautiful in a way, and they all created a lot of learnings for me. I think this relationship that we have now is the longest relationship that I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's a more specific question, then please ask it. But otherwise, I think it would get too long to answer this question.
Well, I have other elements of answer. For me, it's always been easy to meet someone. Like I'm like super open to meeting someone. It's never been a struggle. I've had very happy relationships, and I think I was always pretty much like straightforward. I don't play games. Like if I want to be with you, I'll tell you. If I want to ask you something, I'll ask you. I've never been like, oh yeah, will you text me back? Oh, I should wait for 3 days before texting me back. I've never been like in this kind of place. Like I've been very saying, yeah, that's what I want, and it worked pretty well for me. I've had one big relationship which was very important to me, that was very harmful, because he was a bit of a narcissistic pervert. Voilà, I don't know how you say it in English, un pervers narcissique in French, but only because I gave away my power. So I understood it much later, but in the moment I couldn't see it. It was I was just blinded by love, and just blinded by, I put him on a pedestal, and I thought he was the love of my life. But I had a lot of hurt, but it led me to the journey of forgiveness and understanding myself better, and understanding why I gave my power away. And that was a big turning point. Like it was the same year we met together, and I really understood that a beautiful relationship should never lead me to giving away my power. If the person tells me, if you love me, you don't do that, then this is such a big trigger warning, like a red flag. Now I will never experience that again, because I know how it feels, and I've healed and I've grown from it. Never again. But it was such a big learning.
Yeah, I think this is also something that was really clear for me in my first relationships, that a relationship is for me a space where I can give a lot of generosity. But it was not oftentimes received in a similar way. Generosity was not really a shared value in my past relationships, and this created a lot of tension, and also showed me like how oftentimes we are like what you just mentioned, or people are like that they asking for something, but it's not really a question, it's more like a demand. It's like, okay, you have to do it, otherwise it just shows me that you're not loving me.
Oh my god, this is so manipulative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, this is important to experience all of that, because then we know when it's not love, where it's just manipulation and games. And yeah, I guess everyone goes through that.
Yeah.
So we've had our shared time of that.
Let's take 2 more questions before
Yes.
we wrap up.
Yeah. How to be sure that you're not making a mistake in love? Well, I think there is no mistake. There is only experiences which will lead you to know yourself better, and that will empower you or disempower you, and then lead you to other choices.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is a good question actually. How to be sure you're not making mistakes? Yeah, mistakes is part of it, of course. We were not really able to avoid it. But we can also inform ourselves about relationship and what it means to be relationships. There's so many great books.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a good point to mention the books that we are reading.
We really loved Conscious Loving, More Than Two, and I read also Mastery of Love. There is books from a great lady which writes about frog farming that I really loved.
Oh yeah,
It's about the different stages of the evolution of a man, and how a woman can support the evolution of a man instead of criticizing him, things like that.
It's by Armstrong. Her name is
Alison Armstrong.
Alison Armstrong.
Thank you. Yeah.
Also really, really good. Another book is We by Robert A. Johnson. This was also a really good one for me. I think you haven't read it. This one was really good as well. Yeah, so there are 5 books.
Yeah, and more.
That are super interesting,
Yeah.
but you will also find them on... do we have a resource?
Yeah, it's planned.
Okay,
It's not yet
Yeah.
written.
You will also find in our program there will be a
Resources
place for
to
some resources.
dive
Yeah.
deeper. Maybe one last question, which is, you have a big dharma. How do you both concile them and together? So dharma is living your life purpose. This is like kind of a life mission, your demon. And how do we concile that? Well, being a relationship is very spiritual, and following your life purpose is very spiritual. And I believe we meet people so that they can support us in creating the best version of ourselves, where we can fulfill our dharma. So obviously every day we support each other so that both can feel empowered to be creators of this dharma.
Yeah, and I really believe that one reason why this relationship happened is because we were both clear about our purpose or our dharma, however you want to call it.
That's true. Yeah. I'm proud to be by your side.
Me too.
Yeah, so we will not take more questions, but if you have more questions, you can write them below the video and we will answer them. You can tag us like at Anne-Claire Miret or at I am Christian Kasper. About the program, so the program you can buy from today, and there is a special price until May 21, and then it will stay available from May 21st, but at a higher price when the program will start. You will find in the program self-explorations, exercises to relate with one another that you can practice by yourself or with someone else. It can be a friend, a family member, so that you get comfortable with the exercises. There will be journaling exercises to get clear, to get more clarity on some topics. There will be a guide to create an agreement letter for when you want to review your relationship or create a new relationship. How do you create an agreement letter on which you both agree? There will be EFT sessions with me, 2 EFT sessions with me, which are recorded. There will be an online breathwork with Christian, which will be in English but also translated in French with me. It will be in June. There is one date. It will be available in replay afterwards. There will be meditations in English and in French, and also forgiveness tools so that you can leave the past behind. And the program has 5 modules, and you can do them however you want. You don't have to do them like for 5 weeks. You just take your time and you do it whenever it feels right for you, because there's a lot of inquiries, there's a lot of exercises. Some people will want to take 2 weeks to do one module or 3 weeks to do one module, and that's totally fine. You just take your time to do the modules. Do you want to say what's in the module?
Yeah, so there are, what you said, 5 modules. The first one is around beliefs and emotional wounds that we carry around. So this is about creating some clarity around what are the most common wounds that get triggered for you. The second module is around forgiveness and cutting cords, and we are talking here about internal forgiveness but also external forgiveness and cutting cords. So not only cutting cords to other people that are not serving you in your life anymore. It's not necessarily that, it's more about letting an old relationship, for example, transition in something new, what it's supposed to be. But also internally, okay, so what are you still doing, what is not serving you anymore? Forgiving yourself and also cutting the cords here. Then the third module is around needs and self-empowerment. So in order to empower ourselves, we have to understand what we actually want, what are our needs, what do we need to feel, for example, feel safe in a relationship. The fourth module is around vision and your core values. What is important to you in your life, what do you want to share with a partner, and what's your vision in life, and how can you actually create a relationship that is supporting this vision as well. And as I just said, for me, I think this was one really important aspect, knowing what I actually want in my life so that I actually could call in a partner that would support me on this journey. And the last module is the agreement letter, and this is basically a synthesis of everything that you discovered during this program and putting it down on a paper, what's important for you in a relationship. And you can do this program with your partner, but if you don't have a partner, it's also totally fine to do it by yourself. And then you can also share this agreement with your partner afterwards.
You're ready.
Yeah. Or
You're ready for what you want.
The agreements. What we also did in our relationship, we co-created agreements that were important for us.
So this is a program for, we said it for single people, but also for people who are in relationships and want to improve them and feel more freedom and feel really empowered in their relationships. It's not a program for people who want a step-by-step recipe that will be copy-pasted for everyone else. It's really something that you will create from inside of you, that will just emerge from you thanks to all the inquiries and experiences that we're offering, and you will find your own way, but we're guiding you. And so this is all recorded. You can do it at your own pace whenever you want, and you can always ask questions below the videos and we will answer all your questions. And you can also share with the other participants about your insights and ask for advices to the other participants too. There is no Facebook group for this program, it's only below the videos, but you'll find all the answers there. And the price is 109 euros. This is the launch price. So you can find this price from now to May 21. It's cheap. We wanted it to be available for a lot of people, and it's a lot of work. There is a lot of videos, and there is the translations and everything. And then from May 21st, it will be 169 euros. And there is a payment plan. You can pay in 2 times if you want to spread the expenses on 2 different months. Voila.
Voila.
We're super excited because we believe that creating more freedom in the world starts with creating more freedom inside of the home space. And the happier the people are and the more empowered they are in their home, in their family setting, then the more it will vibrate in the world. So it's just so obvious that it starts here.
Yes.
Do you want to add something?
Just thank you everyone for joining this live, and yeah, check out the program that we created. I believe this will bring a lot of value to anyone, and was just a really beautiful process for both of us to actually create the agreement. That's why we actually wanted to share this process of creating agreements.
Got us closer together.
Yeah. So,
Creates a lot of safety and also some fun.
yeah.
So you'll find the links in both Christian Linktree and my Linktree. We're gonna put it soon if internet is working with us. If you have any questions, please reach out to us. You can write to Christian in English, to me in French, or to my team on the email on my website. We wish you a lot of love and join us.
Thank you everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.